Hello, I am Ardubich. Thank you for watching my video. Today I'm playing Mount & Blade Warband by Tailworlds Entertainment and Paradox Interactive. Mount & Blade Warband is an open-world, medieval, RPG action strategy game. This is one of my favorite games of all time, but I've never heard of it if not for the free weekend that it had on Steam. I currently have 324.5 hours of gameplay, which is by far the most I've played a single game in offline mode. The only games that rival how much I've played this game is the entire Mass Effect series, the entire Civilization series, and the entire Roller Coaster Tycoon series. So for one single game to have as much playtime as I put into some of the other major series, it's impressive. Before I get started, I do want to be honest and say that as great as Warband is, I do not care much for the Viking Quest and Napoleonic Wars DLC for this one, as well as the original Mount & Blade and Mount & Blade with Fire and Sword. There is a spin-off game called Caribbean, which is a pirate version of this game. If you played the old Sid Meier's Pirates game, it's almost exactly like that with the Warband physics. That game is fun, and I'll do a video on that one. And there's also Mount & Blade Bannerlord that they're currently working on and should be coming out in the near future, and I'm really excited for that one. So let's jump into this game here. I'm going to go ahead and start a new game. Okay, so when you create your character, you have to create a little bit of a backstory. I'm going to skip the text and kind of summarize here for you. The first scene said that you can be a female, but in the old days, male was the way to go, so it'll be more challenging if you are a female. I'm a male in real life, so I like to play male in my video games. And then, you start with choosing your backstory here. This one says, land far away, your father was. Strength is the most important attribute you can have in Warband. Charisma affects how large of a party you can have. Intelligence affects your attribute points, which I think intelligence is your second most important one. Agility is your ability to move around, horse riding, stuff like that. But strength, if you don't have the strength to fight, you are going to die. And in Warband, when you die, the battle's over. So you have to stay alive, and the more kills you can get, the easier it is for you to win, because the NPC players aren't stupid and they aren't bad at fighting, but if you wanted to, you can completely take over a fight on your own with enough strength. There's one time where I think I had maybe 10 people, and I got attacked by a group of like 90 barbarians, and so my 10 people died quickly, but because I was on horseback and I had a ton of strength, I soloed like 80 people before they ended up killing me on the last 10 that they had. So you can do some major work if you keep your strength up. So because of that, I'm going to have my father be a warrior. Each one of these choices does have attribute consequences behind them. None of them are going to penalize you for the choices, but you do get boosts in certain ones. So like this one here, if I went with a shop assistant, I would get a bonus in like my negotiating at the market, so that I'd be able to sell things for better prices or buy them for better prices. I'd also get maybe like a +1 charisma or something like that. I want to be a page at a nobleman's court because, again, of the strength factor. For this one, I'm going to go ahead and be a smith. I don't remember if this one has strength, but it will start me off with the better weapon. And again, I'll go back here. So this one was when you're a child. What did you do as a child? This one is what did you do kind of as a teenager or young adult? And then this one here is now that you're in adulthood, why did you leave your old lands to come to the new land here? I'm going to go with personal revenge. So now my guy's the backstory is completely done. I like realistic. In any game that has any kind of decisions, I don't like being able to save and go back and choose again, because it's just so easy to try to get the right answer, and if you don't get the right answer, you can go back. In this one, when you do something, it's set in stone. So, you know, if you're like, oh, I'm going to attack this group, and you get absolutely slaughtered, and now you're at war with a kingdom, you're like, oh, well, that wasn't a good idea. Well, now you have to live with the consequences instead of being able to save and go back and reload. Okay. And so my backstory started me off with 11 strength, 6 agility, 5 intelligence, and 8 charisma. Everything here caps your points out. You have to have 3 points in an attribute in order to spend 1 point over here. So how this is a strength attribute, if I put this at 12, that means I can put this up to 4. It's because my intelligence is so low and I have a decent starting strength, I'm going to go ahead and put that in intelligence. It'll give me extra skill points as well as let me do things like tactics. Pathfinding is good because it helps you move around the game world, and that's really handy because when you get an army the size of, like, 90 or 100, you're going to move slow, and it's really hard to catch up to people who have smaller armies. So this is a very important stat to have. There are companions in this game that you can get, and certain things like how it says under pathfinding here, party skill in the top right hand corner. That means if a party member or one of your companions has a higher pathfinding skill than yours, or whoever's party member has the highest pathfinding skill, theirs is going to be the one to count. So if I have, say, 5 points in this, and I go and find someone who's they have like 6 or more pathfinding points, then all the points I put into here are pretty much going to be wasted as long as that guy's in my party. So we're only going to put 1 in it for now and hope that we find someone who has good pathfinding. Some of these, like this one's a personal skill. It only affects myself. Yeah, this is a party skill, so the highest party member skill is the one that counts. And there's one more, I thought. Leader skill. So this one, whoever is the leader of the army controls how many prisoners they can manage. And that doesn't seem that important, that it's different from leader skill and personal skill, because you are the leader of your warband. But in this game, you can actually run your own kingdom, and when you run your own kingdom, you can have people who swear loyalty to you, and they run their own armies. So if their prisoner management is a 0, they're not going to be able to capture people. Just like the leadership and trade. So leadership, if their leadership is a 2 like how mine is, they're not going to have as big of an army as someone who has, like, say, a 5 or a 6 in leadership, unless their renown is really high. So now that I got that explained a little bit, we're going to build up these strength attributes, and I think that's good for now in the strength. I have 2 more points. I do want to do prisoner management because you can capture people in battle and sell them into slavery, which is actually profitable. Inventory management, because your inventory will fill up quick. As far as proficiencies, I'm actually really good at using the one-handed, two-handed, and pole arms. The pole arms I don't use in real battles, but you can fight in arena matches, and that's where I'll use my pole arms and the throwing. So I usually like to put my extra points in archery and crossbow, just because if I use them in an arena, I'm going to want the extra stats to make it easier to use them, but I'm never going to use them in the battlefield, so I'm not going to have as many chances to level up the proficiency as I would, say, the two-handed weapon, which I'll be using constantly. So let's go ahead and put some points here. Alright, got all my skill points, attribute, and weapon points spent, got my guy named, so we're good to go. The customization here isn't that great. Part of it's because of the graphics, part of it's because of just the options. So there's a couple looks I normally go with, so I'll just try to find that. I'll go with that. Alright, so we'll stick with that. I won't get into any of this. Alright, and now this is asking which place do you want to start your adventure in. This is not asking you who you want to be aligned with. It's just asking you your starting city. When you start, you're completely neutral with everyone, and you'll have the choice to swear loyalty to one of the kings in these kingdoms. You can stay independent and raid caravans or raid villages, be a bandit, or you can go bandit hunting. And even if you capture your own castle or city, you can start your own kingdom, which it's a lot of fun to do, but can be overwhelming at times, especially when one of the other 6 or a few of the other 6 people aren't happy with you, and you have entire kingdoms attacking you and your one city. I'm going to go ahead and start with the Kingdom of Nords here. Alright, so the combat in here is actually a little difficult, and where's my sword? It's a nice graphic glitch. You actually have to control the, there's my sword. You have to control your sword swing based on how you move your mouse. There we go. So if I just click it, I'll just do a regular swing. If I click while I'm moving to the right, and then go to the left, I'll swing across. When I block, I'll show you after we talk to this guy. So he's pretty much saying, hey, great for killing that guy. Let me, help me out with this problem that I have. So, all right. With the crossbow here, you click and hold the right mouse button to aim, which it's not actually aiming right now. You click and hold the left mouse button, and it'll give you the aiming reticle. Now, the higher your proficiency is, the smaller that'll be, and as you're moving, it'll expand. But as the crossbow, generally if you're staying still, it'll stay like that. With the bow and arrow, the longer you hold it, your arm will start to get tired, so that reticle will slowly start expanding. With the sword and shield, like I said, anywhere you aim with the shield, it'll block. If you only have your sword out, you have to actually... No, it's not showing the sword again. You actually have to aim your block with the sword. So if I aim up, and it's not going to show it in here. Let's see if I can show you in the town after we talk to this guy. So he wants us to find his brother who was kidnapped by bandits. And first, in order to fight the bandits, we have to go out and recruit some Warband members. So this is the world map here. It's actually pretty big. Each color represents a kingdom. And as you see, I'm starting up here in the Kingdom of Nords at Sargoth here. To recruit, you have to go to a small village. This is a castle, city, and village. So we go over here to the village. And you just click to move, and that is a 15-person barbarian group. So by myself, I'd probably be able to take them on, but I want to go ahead and get a few people first just to be safe. Screw it.
You better not be a manhunter.
So against barbarians, you generally don't have the option if you want to run away or surrender. Well, I mean, you have the option to surrender, but sometimes you can talk your way out of a fight if it's with a nobleman, or you can leave people behind and run away at this, sacrificing the few people. But you don't really have that option with the bandits. But I mean, looters are very basic units, and they're chumps pretty much. Being on horseback and with the 12 strength that I talked about, it's going to be pretty easy to kill these guys. Oops. There. Now that they see that they're easily being defeated, they're gonna run away from the fight. And you just clean up. So like I said, that was pretty easy, mainly because 1, I put enough strength that I can do a lot of damage. 2, I'm on horseback, and 3, they're very low level units, so killed 13 looters, got a decent amount of XP, so I'll be able to level up. And remember how I was saying that you'll need a lot of inventory space? That's because when you fight, you get a lot of loot. A lot of it's worthless. Like I can, you know, this is just a rock that I can sell for 1 gold piece. But I mean, some of it's actually worth a little bit, and some of it you can actually, you'll find stuff that's better than what you have equipped right now. Okay, so go ahead and equip that just because it gives me 6 head armor and I didn't have anything before. And I'll sacrifice the 6 leg armor for the 25 body armor. There's no gloves in here. There you go. That'll make it so that I equip the sword and shield first instead of the crossbow like how it's been doing. Another thing you have to watch out for is the speed and reach of the weapon. The speed is 98, which is really good, and the damage is 29, which is fairly decent, but the reach is only 73, so being on horseback, you're not going to hit a lot of people unless you're literally right next to them. Whereas with the balanced sword here, it's got a reach of 95, so I can reach a little further out to get them. Later on, there's a two-handed sword that I love using, especially on horseback, because you can just slaughter people and the damage is so high, and it's got a huge reach too. So I think that'll be all for this battle, and look, my inventory is already almost full. Alright, now we can go into Fanata here, and we'll recruit volunteers, and no one wants to join, so that was a nice wasted trip there. Try to head back to Quinn here. You move slower when you are in trees, so keep that in mind when you're trying to follow groups. There we go, 7 Nord recruits. That'll be enough for what I need to do now. This right here is King Ragnar. Kings have a much larger army than anyone else in the game, except when you become king, you don't get that bonus, which kind of sucks. But you'll see people at the start of the game, the kings will have 200 members or 200 troops in their army. When you get much later in the game, they'll get up into 350, 400 people in their army. So it gets really tough to beat a king. The most that I've had in my army, I think, is 140 people, and that's after I've been a king with a huge amount of renown and like 6 points in charisma. So the player army just doesn't get that big. Alright, there's a tournament too. I do want to join that. So there'll be tournaments in every major city. They come and go as time goes on, and it's the best chance to make money, quick money anyway, but you have to have money to place on yourself, and you have to win the entire thing. So you can bet 100 dinars each round, and each round the odds get lower and lower. So right now it's 13-to-1 odds. Betting 100 dinars, that's going to give me 1,300 dinars if I win the entire thing. Now if I bet each round, by the end of the tournament I'll have won like, I think it's like 2,400 dinars, which is a pretty good amount, especially for how easy it is if you are good at fighting and you have the strength. Like I was saying before, just in case you get saddled with a certain weapon, you do want to have your proficiency up in it. You don't get to choose your weapon aside from finding someone who died. You pick up their weapon. In the tournaments, the best way to make sure that you advance is to not die. Once your team is the last one standing, you advance. If you die, it doesn't automatically mean you'll be that you'll be eliminated from the tournament. If you're killing a bunch of people and you die, you can sometimes make it to the next round. It just depends on how many people make it from staying alive compared to how many people died and had kills. So it doesn't really show you any of that formula work, but the best bet is just to kill everyone and stay alive. So we'll put another 100 dinars. That'll give us another 1,000. There's 6 rounds in each tournament. Different kingdoms have different styles of tournaments. When you get over into the steppes, they use horseback a lot, so their tournaments reflect that by having every single round on horseback. They also use a lot of horseback archers and spearmen, so that'll usually be the kind of weapon that you have. Being here in the Nord Kingdom, the axes are one of their biggest weapons. The Huskarl is their best unit, so the Nord recruits that I picked up, as they level up, I can actually advance their class. And the Huskarl is the highest Nord one, and they use axes and are great for sieging because the axes will break shields. So it's the best foot unit, or the best melee foot unit in the game is the Nord Huskarl. One of the few things that I don't like in this game is when fighting gets tight and you're up close in groups like this and you try to swing, a lot of times your swing will get blocked by your teammates. And it looks like I'm actually running out of money here, so after this round I probably won't be able to bet anymore. So I mean, it just kind of sucks when you're in huge sieges and you can't attack because you're just surrounded by people. Almost died on that one. Alright, last round. Okay, so I guess I was a little off on the money. Overall, I won 3,328. Actually, overall, I won 3,528 because of the $200 dinar winning prize plus how much I bet. I also gained a lot of experience as well. Another thing I like about this game is you can actually, every single town, city, and castle you can walk around, and none of them are the same. So let's go and take a walk around the streets here. So this one, it's more of a, I guess, fort instead of a city. Most of the Nord towns are like that. So I mean, you can come up and you can talk to people, ask them about their life and everything. every once in a while when you ask someone about their, how their life is going, they'll be like, oh, I'm so poor I can't eat, and you can give them a few dinars to improve their life and build relations in the town. You can walk up and talk to the shop owners, but you can do the shops from the town menu. The one thing you can't do from the town menu, though, is the guild masters. And the guild master you talk to for, missions from the city, like it'll be delivering a letter to another town or escorting a caravan. The other thing you can do is you can buy land, which will generate some income for you as well. The tavern is where we'll head to in a little bit. The castle, you'll find noblemen in the castle, and noble ladies as well. You can get married in this game, which is one of my favorite things about this game, just for the roleplay aspect, but for whatever reason they don't have it in any other game. Even the with Fire and Sword, Napoleonic Wars, and Viking Conquest that all came out after this or are DLC to this game, you can't get married in them. But this one you can, so you actually have to court people and build relations. This, I think, is an older woman who is already married to someone. Yeah, Jarl Reimold is her husband, but Lady Thera is her daughter, and the daughters are the ones that you can actually court. The best way to do that is if there's a feast going on, you go in, you win the tournament, and the tournament grants you access to the feast, and you can go walk up to one of the eligible maidens and dedicate your success in the tournament to them. Since there's no other women here to do that, I'm going to go ahead and just dedicate to her. It'll build my relation. When you get up to about like 8, you can ask her to improve your relations with another lord. So if you have a rivalry that you want to, bury the hatchet in, you could talk to a maiden within that realm who you have high relations with, and she can help you improve that relation with the other lord. They can also tell you the location of people within their realm, though. You can't, this person is in the Nordic kingdom. You can't ask about someone in the Vagar kingdom from her. Just to give you an idea how many... Arwo the Pearled One, this is a claimant. Each kingdom has a claimant who has a claim to the throne of their home realm, and you can choose to ally with one of them if your renown is high enough and help them retake their throne. Go to the cavern. Okay, so here in the journal you can see your missions, and also you can see all the characters, and this is what I wanted to show you. Every single one of these is a different person in the game that you can talk to and have a relationship with, whether it's rivalry or friendship, or you are courting someone, or you are in service or at war with one of the kings. So I mean, for example, let's go down here to ladies. Who's the one I usually marry in the game? Lady Rada isn't... Oh, here she is. This is one of the people I usually marry. There's like 4 or 5 that I'll rotate on just to keep it mixed up. So her family is Count Gutlands, Count Larquin, Count Tribadon, Count Gerlux, Lady Aneth, and Lady Beothea. Hope I pronounced that right. Not that I'll offend anyone, though. Marrying into them gives you a little bit of influence if their family has a lot of renown. So, this is her brother who has almost as much renown as her father. Her father is the Lord of Yalen, which is kind of a small area. He's the Lord of Ilva and Dergsine, which are both just small towns. So even though they have a lot of renown, they don't really have much property to their name. So here we are in the tavern. The Merchant of Sardath is the guy I'm doing the quest for. The Traveler, he can help tell you where your companions are, or just general information about the lands. Elaine, this is a companion and one of my favorite ones, mainly because he's the closest thing to kind of a knight that you can get. He's a good warrior, he's noble, and he has a lot of good stats. So you know, we'll keep up our talk with him, ask him to join our company. Oh shit, I hit the wrong button. Okay, so tell them, our people, that we won't have a problem with them. And then each one will have a fee. A couple of them, if they're lower level, they'll be free to join. Or if they're not that good, they'll be free to join. 300 is usually the normal, and some of them get up a little higher. So spend 300 dinar. He'll be part of our party now. Watchmen, mercenaries you can hire. There'll be various different units. You can talk to the tavern keeper to find out who in the area might have quests for you. But for now, let's go ahead and advance this one. And he just wants us to find a small group of bandits. And this is pretty much just a tutorial to the game. Teach you how to. It doesn't really teach you anything, but it gives you experience recruiting a warband. It'll give you experience fighting in open field battles, and then it'll give you experience raiding, like depending on the land, it'll be like a cave or a beachfront or something like that. It doesn't give you the experience of sieging a town though, so you'll just have to experience that on your own later. Alright, so this is the group that we're going after. Tell me where you're keeping the boy. And 9 against 4. Okay, so I have people now. You don't have to charge in a fight. You can sit here and give commands. I'll show you the different groups after this fight. Right now, everyone is a infantry unit right now, so whether I hit 1 for infantry or 0 for everyone, it won't matter. So we call them. We'll have 3 options: movement orders, formation orders, or fire orders. Fire orders will be like, you know, fire at will or hold your fire. That's very basic, that anyone could probably figure out. Formation orders, we can tell them to spread out or keep in close. And movement orders, we can tell them to hold a position, follow, or charge. We're going to have them, let's actually just have them, we'll have them hold their position for now. Let me get to a different spot. I'm actually going to have them hold this position. Oh, actually, I didn't realize they were that close. Just go ahead and have them charge. Usually what you'll want to do is you'll want to have them hold a position so that when the other enemy charges, they hit the wall. And the wall is very good for defense because you'll have everyone kind of defending each other, like in the movie 300, when that front wall held off thousands of people. It doesn't quite work that good in here, but it'll, you know, if you're far outnumbered, especially if you have like spearmen and they're charging with horses, it makes a huge difference letting them form that wall first, and then once all the fighting is kind of contained in the one area, then you say, hey, charge, go after them, and you know, you let them pretty much feast on the battlefield. Okay, so captured him, and in exchange for letting him go, he tells us where the boy is, and I forgot to sell all this stuff, so my inventory's full now. I'm going to sell stuff because when you raid one of these instances, you'll get a lot of loot. So let's go ahead and go in the weapon shop here and just unload our inventory. Tools are pretty much useless, so you just sell them for money. The only thing you'll ever need tools for is later on if you're owning a kingdom and you want to relocate your headquarters, you'll need tools and velvet, I believe. So if you have tools, you can sell them. Food is very important because, one, if you don't have food, your people will get pissed and they'll start leaving. And if you do have food and you have, they each give a party morale bonus, and you'll get that bonus for each different type of food you have. I'll show you that in a second as well. Let me unload my inventory here. And this sword here is actually the one that I was telling you is my favorite one to use, but it's a little out of my price range right now. But I mean, as you can see, 93 speed, which is pretty decent for a two-handed weapon, 120 reach, which is really far out there, and it's got 49 damage, so it gets pretty crazy on how many people you can kill quickly with this thing. This probably doesn't even have further reach. Usually the long pole arms have a farther reach, but not this one. Alright, so there's nothing I want to buy weapon-wise. And he actually can't afford to pay me as much as I sold him, so let's take some of this back. Gotta get it to 268. This guy had no money. Oh, the tools alone is what put me over. Okay. We can go ahead and sell all this stuff here. There we go. So here's the goods. Like I said, this one gives me +4. If I got him grapes, I get an additional +3 because it's a different food item. But if I say buy all 5 of these grapes, I'll only get +3 morale. The chicken gives +8. Raw beef gives +7. Meat, unless it's smoked like this fish here, and I think there's another meat that I'm forgetting about, but the smoked fish won't go bad, but the beef, the chicken, and the pork, it will go bad over time, so it's really best to just sell it. Bread's always a good thing to get, and grain is, a lot of times you'll stock up a lot on grain because it's usually cheaper than anything, and sometimes you're more worried about keeping your people fed instead of keeping the party morale up, especially when you get a much larger army and they'll go through, they'll go through a thing of fish, a bread, lettuce, and a grain in like 2 or 3 days. So you'll stock up on a lot of grain just to save money. I have a small warband right now, so it's really not that important to get other food. These are various horses. You need a riding of 5 to ride this one, and unless your agility is 15, unless your agility is 15, you won't have enough points to put on the 5. And literally, that's the only reason to have agility in this game. So agility is almost worthless because, yeah, your horse can take more damage, but I can do just as much on this one with a riding of 1. And then armor here. You got leg armor, head armor, and body armor. Once you get further into the game, it'll be pretty easy to have, the best stuff. So, you can look out for cheap stuff like this armor's pretty cheap, 2,000. I usually won't spend more than 4,000 on something unless it has elite stats, but these stats really aren't that good for the price, especially these two here, because there's sea raiders in the area that I'm in right now actually, and they drop this stuff very often, so I can get this for free and not have to pay a couple thousand for it. Okay, so let's go raid that cave. So this is the cave here. Just head on over. Okay, so every week that passes, you'll have this weekly budget thing that pops up. As long as your party's small, you won't really spend that much, but once you start leveling up your troops, your party gets much bigger. You'll easily spend a couple thousand for your army. When you have a castle or a town, the garrison's going to cost you money as well, and that's where owning buildings or owning property for a business helps out, because you can generate that extra income. If you're holding lands like a castle or a city, you'll make money off of those. The city makes probably 3 times more than the castle does, but the castle can still make a decent amount, at least enough to pay for the garrison. And while I was on that, I know I leveled up, so put that at 9 and we can build our strength up again. Until this hits 15, I won't be able to build on either of these. Both my intelligence is a 9. I can increase tactics. Tactics makes it easier to win battles where you're outnumbered. Don't ask me exactly how it works, but it actually makes a pretty big difference that unless you spend that point, you really won't notice. Trainer helps as well, because when you get much higher level, oh, I gotta spend my, there we go. When you get much higher level, you'll have these guys here that they'll need to level up, but in order to do that, they have to have experience points. When they get in the fights, it's really hard for them to really go on a killing spree, especially at lower level, to get that XP. So having trainer so that you can give the lower XP guys some bonus XP and help them get up to the point where they're not going to die easily on the battlefield, it helps a lot. I'll move a lay-in up here. So there's groups that you can set these guys in, and you can actually rename them. Like this one here, I'll do yeah. Vanguard. That'll be my front line. First infantry. So the front line are going to be my garbage troops. First infantry are going to be ones that I've leveled up a little bit but aren't quite max level. And then second infantry are going to be my higher up. Oh man. Going to be my higher level troops that I don't really want to lose. And those will be my my infantry ranks. I'm going to go ahead and put artillery in here. That'll be my crossbowmen and archers. And then cavalry for all my mounted units. Every once in a while I'll put officers in here for, you know, like Elaine and all that. But I'm going to go ahead and, because I want Elaine to level up, I'm going to leave him as Vanguard for now. And we want these guys to be Vanguard as well. So Vanguard, if I hit 1 on my keyboard, then first infantry is 2, 3, 4, 5. So that makes it a lot easier to organize your battlefield. And hopefully we can get some of these guys to level up. Now these hideouts here, it'll be you and I think like 4 or 5 of your party. The way you have this set up is very important because whoever's higher on the list, they get into the fight first. So say I want to level up these Nord recruits, but they're all the way down here buried under people. They're not going to get into the fight unless reinforcements are needed. So if you want the recruits to get experience, you have to have them up higher. Being this small, it doesn't matter. I think the battle size for an army is like 50 or 75 on the battlefield at once at max. And that's what it turned up in the options. People who have lower video cards can set it for lower. Alright, so we're at the hideout. We'll go ahead and attack. So this one will just spit out a bunch of people, and once you kill all of them, the fight will end. They're kind of boring, but the loot's really good on them, and the hideouts are spawn points for bandits. So later on, when it starts spawning bandit squads of like 60 and 80 people, and it'll put out like 8 groups of them, and it'll just flood an area. It almost makes it impossible for you to operate in that area unless you take out all the unless you take out the hideout and then take out the bandit groups. So it is something that you kind of need to do, as boring as it is to run back and forth between these 4 points here. There's one there, the cave back there, and then they'll also spawn by that boat as well. So It'd be much better if they spawn them all at once and let you just have a few extra people on the battlefield. But for whatever reason, they decided it's better to make you run all over the place. There we go. This one wasn't too bad because it was the tutorial one. But later on, you'll have to kill like 20 people, and it'll only spawn like 6 of them at a time, and you'll have to run back and forth to kill them. Alright. And being low level, all of this is junk, but it'll be sold pretty good. Give us a couple extra 100 dinars. Stop by Fearchin to recruit while we're here. Then head back to Sargoth. I'll keep this video going until the end of this tutorial mission here. If you want to see more, just leave in the comments, hey, I'd love to see more of this. Please do another episode. We'll go ahead and fight this guy while we're at it. Oh, Sea Raiders. We'll get good loot from these guys. Unlike the looters, the Sea Raiders can get pretty tough. So I expect some of my guys to die even though we're even number. And I'll go ahead and actually charge in and kill some of these guys too. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have them hold this position here. Right here. I'll go up and I'll thin out the numbers a little bit. And then I'll come back and when it's a little more in our favor, make it so that my guys can fight too. Mainly because I'm fighting with peasants and these guys are higher level and will kill most of my guys. So they have spearmen, axe throwers, and archers. Or people who throw like spears, not standing there with spears. Which, if you're on horseback and you got your arm up to swing, just like that, and they'll hit you. I got hit with an axe in the jugular. I should be dead, but it'll actually interrupt you and cause a good amount of damage. I love the large-scale battles in this game. This is a small-scale battle, but once you get into like a 50 on 50, where just everything's going on in the battlefield, it gets intense. Especially with archers on the field, you'll be riding like this, and you'll just see an arrow fly by your head, and like in real life, you'll dodge. All right, so let's go ahead and get our guys into this now, since I'm a little beat up. Also, I want to get my guys some experience points, assuming they don't die. You guys can go ahead and charge. Oops. There you go. Alright, set them to charge, so now they'll chase people around the battlefield. Take out this archer who's just... Oh, apparently my sword got unequipped somehow. There you go. There you go. Alright, so 4 died and Elaine got wounded. If they're wounded, then you'll still have them in your party. They just have to heal before they can fight again. If they're dead, they're gone. So, like I said, you can get really good stuff from the Sea Raiders, even though they're a little harder to beat. Alright, and with companions, they can level up too. Alright, so I'm going to make these guys footmen. The huntsmen will be more archers, the footmen are your infantry, and the footmen's the first branch to go to the huscarl. So you see the next level, they'll go up to trained footmen. Elaine, you have to talk to him because he's a companion. You can edit their equipment, so we're going to go ahead and give him this helmet here. I don't think I have anything, maybe I do. Give him that, I'll give him a shield too. So the resistance will actually make the attack hurt, like hit for less against the shield. So like this one, how it has a resistance of 1. If I swing for 20 damage, I'll only do 19. And then the 440 of 440 is the shield's hit points. So I'll do 19 damage to the shield here. And then once the hit points are out, your shield will break. And you, after the battle, you'll have it again. Someone probably complained in beta saying, you know, where'd my shield go? This sucks when it breaks. I don't have one. But, I mean, it still comes in handy because you don't have to keep rebuying shields, I guess. My shield has 8 resistance. The size also matters because, you know, size matters in everything, let's face it. But in this one, you know, it's 100 size, so it's a small circular shield, whereas this one is more of a tower shield, so it'll block more of a surface. So let's give him this one here. And then since he leveled up, we can talk to him about his skills. We can spend his attribute points, make it so he lives longer so it's easier for him to level up. And your companions do not gain proficiency on their own. You actually have to spend the points on them. Unlike yourself, where the more you use a weapon, the higher your proficiency you'll get. So I'm going to go ahead and save my skill point because once I hit 15, I'll be able to put a point in each of these and I'll need that extra skill point. Alright, back to Sargoth.
Today the gods will decide your fate.
Alright, this should be interesting. So these hills are not friendly for cavalry, which is a disadvantage. Plus I'm still wounded from the last fight. So this might not go well. Yeah, my guys are starting to die quickly now. Did I win? I won, sweet. Everyone died though, but I won. That's all that matters, right? Alright, and our inventory is full, so I have to drop some of this cheap stuff here. Alright, that's enough. And I leveled up. Leveled up twice in that fight. I'll put an extra one in inventory management. Alright, since it's starting to get a little higher up and my weapon master is still kind of low, it'll start costing a couple extra points to put tribute points on these guys here, but that's no biggie. Alright, so I still have 3 footmen who are going to be trained footmen, but because they're injured, they're not available yet. So then it'll go Nord Warrior, and then after Warrior, I believe it goes to the Huskarl. He's injured as well with 14% health, and he's going to have to regenerate that before he can fight, which means if I get attacked again, then it'll just be me on the battlefield with 41% health. There's companions that are good for medical purposes. It'll help you regenerate faster. It'll help you to keep people from dying more, so if they die in the field, instead of actually dying, they'll be wounded or something. And then, you know, there's another one too that I forget which one it does off the top of my head. Alright, talk to this guy. Alright, so now he's asking us to help him clear the city of corrupt people within the city here. That's going to be one of them. I just got knocked out by a chick. She uppercutted the shit out of him. And like as you can see there, I can't swing through my people, so they get in the way sometimes. Alright, talk to this guy. And we are good to go now. The tutorial mission is over, and we're free to do whatever we want. I mean, we were free to do whatever we wanted before, but the tutorial is a good way to make a little starting cash, get some starting XP, and get a feel for the game. So, we are nearing the 1 hour mark here. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions about the game, this hour puts me at 325.5 hours now. So I can definitely answer any questions you have. Just leave them in the comments. If you want to see more episodes, by all means, say, hey, I want to see more of this game, and I'll make another episode of this. If you enjoyed watching, please, please, please subscribe, comment, like, and share. It means a lot to get these videos out there. I really hope you enjoyed watching it. So again, this is Mountain Blade by Tail Worlds Entertainment and Paradox Interactive. Thank you for watching.